you were saying in the group that you, after I think I did like the webinar on funnels, that you realized you kind of had it backwards. So why don't you tell me what you kind of figured out, and then we can talk about your setup.
Yeah.
And, you know, where you can do some tweaking.
Well, I'm kind of totally restarting it all because I had one expert tell me that the lead magnets weren't at the start. And then I had another one tell me that they were in the middle, and it was all convoluted. And then I thought that I had MailChimp set up the right way. And I went and I coded that into my website. And I'm fairly decent at embedding codes. So I don't like MailChimp.
I don't either, yeah.
I'm learning that I don't like it because what I thought was coded properly, it shows up only half the time, and it's not porting over to my campaign.
Oh.
So I'm losing email addresses, which is not okay at all.
No, that's not good. That's a big hole in your funnel there. So okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I really need to get a good grasp on what is a good funnel system.
Okay. So I like to start at the end and work backwards.
Okay.
This to me makes more sense in leading your client, your potential client, to a buying decision. If you make sure it really tests the cohesiveness of your funnel by starting at the end with where you want them to end up and what it is that you offer as you're a certified health coach?
Yes.
Okay. So starting with your program that you offer, and I call this the big I didn't coin this, I didn't make this up, so you've probably heard this or you'll hear it somewhere else. It's called the big problem, big solution, small problem, small solution. So basically, big problem is the major pain point. Sorry, I take that back. Is the problem that your client really doesn't know they have, and your program is the solution. And the small problem, small solution is their symptom awareness. It's the problem they know they have. So it's the thing that they're complaining about, the thing they're Googling, the thing that they're like, I don't know how to fix this. And the problem is we have a lot of coaches who want to start with their program as, you know, they know that's the solution, and they're marketing that solution to people who don't know they have the problem, right? So just for example, small problem, small solution, people who can't stop snacking, that's their small problem. The big problem is they don't know that their hormones are all over the place. Their insulin is up and down, and that's why they can't stop eating, right? So, but if I come out and I have like a program and I'm selling, oh, I'm going to balance your insulin, people don't know that that's the problem, right? So you really have to, your program might, you know, teach people how to balance their blood sugar and, you know, on a more regular basis, but you kind of have to hold their hand and walk them to that understanding using lead magnet, using your small problem, small solution, right? So maybe you have a, you know, they're Googling, I can't stop snacking. You've got a lead magnet like that says, you know, snack attack, can't stop snacking. You're talking their language. You're saying the exact words that they're Googling. They're like, holy, this lady knows exactly what my problem is, right? So your lead magnet is going to speak directly to that. And then in between the big problem, you know, before you explain to them, hey, I have this program that helps balance your blood sugar, you've offered them the small problem, the small solution to their small problem, and your funnel or your email sequence that delivers the pitch, delivers your program pitch, educates them onto why it is that they, what the big problem is and why your solution is the easy. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is why I like to start with the big thing. And if you know what your solution is, you know what your program is, and you can talk about what pain points it addresses, that gives you everything you need to create the lead magnet that's going to speak to your ideal client.
Okay.
So starting from, here's my program, here's what it does, here's who it helps, here, and then you kind of work backwards. Here is the small problem it addresses. Here's who's looking for that, because that's really key to know who, not just the what, but the who, because that's going to help you figure out where to target your messages.
Okay.
Right? So it's one thing to have a lead magnet, which addresses the what, but you need to deliver it. You need to put it places where people are going to see it, and you have to know who you're targeting and then where they're going to be, right? So that's like the top of the funnel, but we don't do that till the end, because we can't fill a funnel that we don't have like set up, right?
Yeah.
So what's the matter?
I said that makes so much more sense. Thinking out loud, sorry.
Okay, that's okay. So let's start with your big problem, big solution, or what your program does. So you have a program that you've worked with clients before? Okay.
Yes. And I've kind of reshifted that. And after that last webinar that you had where you were talking about the sales, this program happening right now, it kind of made me think, I think I want to shift away from that big 6 month that I do, just because it's a lot.
It is a lot.
And I feel like my time would be better spent doing that membership.
Okay.
So I think I want to spend more time focusing on that. I want that to be my big problem. I think I want that.
Let me just jump in here real quick and say, memberships are really good for ongoing support, or like something that people graduate into after they've kind of done a program. What I normally tell people is, because I've worked with a lot of people who come out of is it IIC or something like that?
Oh yeah.
Where they promote the 6 month program.
Yeah.
And honestly, what I would recommend is taking that, breaking it into 2, 3 month, or 90-day programs.
Yeah.
A level 1 and a level 2. And this gives you a lot of options for upsells and downsells.
Yeah.
If you use that first 90 days as your program, like your big sell, like your signature program.
Yeah.
Then you can have people who go through 90 days. They can then either, they want to keep working with you one-on-one, they want really like more intense work, they want to get deeper into this, great, go on to level 2. Don't need that much more help, but you're not ready to kind of like wing it on your own, go into the membership.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
So this gives you kind of like,
yeah, I like that.
So then it's not just, yes or no, that's it. Because if you have a 6 month program, you already have the content. All you have to do, chop it in half, kind of refigure it a little, house it in 2 different places, and then give people the option now, do you do one-on-one, or do you do like a group, or how do you?
I've been doing mostly one-on-one.
Okay.
And then I've got a group that I've been coaching too.
Okay, good.
So that's why I've been thinking maybe I need to go away from that 6 month thing.
Yeah. 6 months is a long time, especially if in the beginning, because your business changes a lot in the beginning. And I think that's something that not a lot of the schools or programs talk about. Like, yeah, like you're going to pivot. You're going to move around. You're going to say, you know what? I don't really want to talk about this topic. Like somebody in the group today was talking, Deborah. I don't know if you know Deborah. When she came into the group about 6 months ago, her program was all about diabetics, like helping people with type 2 and stuff like that. Well, worked with Deborah for a little while, and then she kind of went MIA, and I'm like, I don't know where Deborah went. Well, she just came back a couple weeks ago and was like, oh, I changed it to now I do faith-based weight loss. I just kind of refigured and I pivoted. So I'm like, Of course you did, because that's what happened. Like,
Yeah.
but like dating, right? You get out there, you
Hmm.
date, you're like, I like this, I don't like that, you know, because you're not married to your program. So if you figure like, but it's hard to do with a 6 month because you're like, you're locked in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough to do, especially if you promised, you know, clients like this 6 month program does X, Y, Z, and then 3 months in, you're like, ugh, one,
Mhm.
maybe you don't really want to work with that client anymore. This gives you an out. You're like, listen, three
Yeah.
months, we're done. You know,
Mhm.
we can call it, you don't even have to offer them anything. Say, it's been great working with you. Bless and release, you know.
Mhm.
But then, you know, if you do like it and you just want to keep going on and you want to keep refining it, you have that option too.
Mhm. I like that. I like that a lot, actually.
Good, good.
Very cool.
So sorry, did we get to, so you have a 6 month program. What's kind of
Mhm.
like is it general health coaching? Is it specific to an outcome or?
It's mostly we. I say we because I've got an RD because I'm in Florida, and to protect myself, I do an RD. She's a more on consulting when there is weight loss. It's mostly overall health that I've been doing, gut health. When you fix your gut, you fix
Yeah.
everything else. There's a lot of hormones. Like one gal that I'm working with right now, she's got a lot of hormones that are imbalanced. She wants to lose weight, but that's more of a side effect because I did what you had suggested on weeding her out,
Mm-hmm.
if that was her top priority. Because weight loss is not my,
Mm-hmm.
that's not my first priority at all. But that's really more of what we're focusing on, getting an overall wellness picture. That's what we've been focusing on. I want to stay away from weight loss. So once I'm done with her, I want to get away from the weight loss stuff. I don't want that. I want to deal with more chronic health issues.
Okay. Okay. So what is your methodology? What is the strategy that you use?
I use a lot of motivational interviewing, a lot of that. Um, I used to be a social worker,
Okay.
so I use a lot from that. I mean, I have to be careful
Mm-hmm.
because of that,
Yeah.
because, you know, so I do a lot of strength-based, like questionnaires, and I take little snippets from like CBT,
Mm-hmm.
but, I use what I can to keep myself out of trouble.
Yes, that's smart. Very smart. Okay.
So,
So you help them so what are the changes that you walk them through in the program to help affect the change?
a lot of it has really been just more eye-opening. Oh, wait, I can do this with, sorry, light, right? The sun just started shining right after we just had a storm. That way, it's not right in your eye. A lot of it has just been opening up their eyes that, we detox through their diet and cut back their sugar and opening their eyes that, oh, wait, oh my God, this apple is amazing. I don't need all this sugar. It's really opening their eyes to that.
Okay. So it's really about like
Awareness, education. That's been the biggest thing.
Okay. All right.
Awareness and education, my friends
And
and
so
their friends.
let's talk a little bit about your ideal client,
Okay.
the avatar, and then who that is. Um, let's do that first.
Mostly women over 30, 35. I do have a couple of guys in the membership group, 3 guys
Okay.
that are in their, I've got one guy that's in his mid 30s, a couple of guys that are in their 40s, but it's mostly women between 30 and 63.
Okay. That's a really big age range.
It is. I was very surprised when I started enrolling people.
Yeah. So what I would say is if it's working now, it's working, but I would consider at some point narrowing that down, because the language that you're going to be using to attract someone who's 30, 35 is going to be different from 60.
Yeah.
So that's going to make an impact on your marketing, where you market, the language you use, the what do you call it, the platforms that you use, you know, how you go about it, right? So I would think about narrowing down the age range, and really the problem, because you want to be able to speak to a pain point specifically, because that's where generally where their awareness is. Okay, so it can be about like just awareness of habits and things like that, but you need to tie it into a pain point, right? Because a lot of people aren't Googling, how do I get healthy habits, right?
Yeah.
I know I need to eat healthier because, you know, maybe, you know, for whatever reason, you know, maybe their parents, you know, aren't in great health, or their mother had a heart attack and they don't want to have they want to have healthy outcomes. They want to have long-term health. So really tie that back to the pain point, because at the end of the day, people pay for solutions. So, and the people willing to hire someone to help them with that is somebody who's really in pain, somebody who's done everything else, and they're like, look, I need to make this problem go away, right? Because people buy for two reasons, you know, to move closer to pleasure or away from pain. So
yeah,
coaches, we're generally on that avoiding pain end of the spectrum, unfortunately. So that's where we kind of have to target our marketing and, you know, how we attract clients. So given that, we'll work back to your lead magnet and what you're using and how that's working.
I've got a few of them.
Oh, okay.
Which I kind of see what you're saying. I'm a little all over the place. I think I'm being too general, because I've got and I need a fancier name, I guess, for this one. I've got a sugar detox jumpstart, a detox program that I've got. I've got a webinar coming up that I'm using as a lead magnet, how to be a better home cook in 60 minutes or less. And then I've got a diet-free guide to a happier and healthier life. Okay.
So which one of those, do you have the statistics on conversions, like on a landing page of like which one you're getting people from the most? Or like, do you know what I'm saying? Like which one has the most opt-ins, like which one's getting the most traffic or attracting the most potential clients?
So the lead magnet that I was using through MailChimp was that diet-free guide. And MailChimp has not been sending me stuff. I went and checked that after you asked me about the conversion rates earlier today, and there was nothing there. That's when I almost threw my computer.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, I'm pretty unhappy with MailChimp right now.
So the setup that you haven't, so when you set these up, we'll come back to the other ones in a minute. When you set up your lead magnet, you definitely like test them to make sure.
Yeah, it all works. Like you go in, you put the email addresses in there. So I have to deal with MailChimp support.
Okay.
I'll be dealing with them because it works. I mean, I had several people test it out.
Okay.
So there's something going on there.
Well, so that's a problem. Yeah. Okay, and so the other two, where are those set up? In MailChimp or no?
No. The Better Home Cook, I've been using Facebook and Instagram on that. And the detox one, I used that. I did not get very good results from that. I had several people interested in that, but I didn't actually convert. I can't get the actual statistics right now, but I can get them. I had probably 20 people interested in it, but only 3 people followed through.
Okay.
So I went another route. Plus, life happened and it fell to the wayside. But the home cook, the webinar, that's on Friday. That has been going very well so far.
Okay.
I can get the statistics. That so far has done very well. I've had 5 people sign up so far.
Awesome.
So, and I just put that out on Friday.
Okay. So so with your webinar, you have a like a reminder sequence to like
yes.
people go, okay, good.
Yes.
Excellent. I like that.
Yes.
Are you using Webinar Jam?
I'm using Live Webinar. I'm trying that out. I looked into Webinar Jam, but I wanted to try something new. That's my second. I've never done a webinar before, so wanted to try something new.
All right. Well, good luck. I hope that goes well.
I know. Fingers crossed. Webinar Jam is my next one to try.
Let me know because I have I have a webinar tutorial too. So if you want like how to walk through like how to do that.
Okay. I saw that on the list.
Just on Webinar Jam, like specific setups on Webinar Jam.
Nice. Okay.
If you want to try that out. Okay.
Okay.
So let me ask you, of those 3 lead magnets, which one do you think ties in the most with your program and what people should expect? Like what has the most cohesion with your full length program? Like if somebody signs up for your lead magnet, it gives them kind of a taste of like what it's like to work with you, but it's all about, it relates directly to what they get out of your big program.
Probably the webinar because they're getting a taste of actually working with me.
In terms of content, like what they get.
Probably that because they're getting a little guidebook, but not a textbook.
Okay.
I would say that because there's a lot of information. They're getting a lot from it.
I want you to think specifically about the objective of the lead magnet is to teach them X. The outcome of your program is Y. Is there a straight line from like X to Y? Like, does this make sense for? Is this like a stepping stone or a first kind of the first step towards what they'll do in your big program, right? Because the last thing we want is to bring people in with, here's something interesting that maybe they do want to learn. It is valuable.
Yeah.
And they get in the big program and it's nothing compared, like it's not even related to. So for example, if you have, just throwing this out there with your sugar detox, or if you have a, cutting out sugar, and then your full length program is about exercise or mindful eating, things like that. How is it tying in? Like, is there a tie-in? Do you get what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
they're going to be like, okay, your lead magnet talks about eating sugar and whether or not, I mean, you can tie this in, but whether or not you do, by you, I'm just saying in general, the you.
Yeah.
We're talking about sugar and are we aware of how much sugar we're eating and what does sugar do to our bodies, and are we eating sugar because we're restricting food? Are we talking about we're eating sugar because we're stressed, or we're eating sugar because we're eating mindlessly and we're it's emotional eating, or it's just lack of awareness and convenience eating, or we're eating sugar because we're not meal prepping. Do you see what I'm saying? So there's like a direct correlation, or it's going to be something that you address directly in the big program.
I see what you're saying. Okay. Well, with that in mind, probably that diet-free guide to a happier and healthier life then.
Okay. Okay. So, and that's the webinar, or is that?
It's a guide that I made that is kind of like quick little steps that everybody can use
Okay.
to enjoy their lives a little bit more, to eat more whole foods, drink more water, exercise, move yourself more.
Okay.
It's a
And
good
then,
starting off point.
okay. And then, so that ties into the health coaching that you do, and you
Yeah.
talk about awareness of like, maybe mindless eating or
Yes.
things like
Yes,
that. Okay.
definitely.
So that to me makes more sense, and that's really good because you want to have you want it to be almost an intro. Really, it has to be, I don't know if I'm saying this like clearly or if I'm just repeating myself, correlated, right?
Yeah.
You want to make sure like you're not talking about sugar over here and then you're talking about yoga over here, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you don't want people to show up at the end of your sequence and be like, I was interested in finding out about sugar, and now we're talking about yoga. Like, how did I get here? How did that start? So you just want to
Yeah.
make sure there's a logical path from one to the other.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we covered big problem, big solution. That's your program. We cover small problem, small solution. That's the lead magnet. And now the in between. Are you using an email sequence? Or are you using a phone call? Are you using what? Tell me how you get people from lead magnet to sale.
I need a better email sequence because right now I have just been calling people.
Okay.
I've done a couple of emails, but it hasn't worked. So I kind of abandoned that except for the webinar. I've been calling people, doing like a discovery session.
Okay.
I like doing it better on Zoom.
Okay.
But I need to figure out that process a little more.
Okay. So that's actually a really super easy. That's probably the easiest funnel
Mm-hmm.
because there's one step. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
really, there's only one thing, but you have to be comfortable with selling the program. Now, do you know what your conversion rates are on the phone?
No, because I really haven't. I've had two. I've only done 6 months. Most of them have been group coaching.
Okay.
I've had 6 months because I'm a new health coach, so I've only had two big programs.
Okay. How comfortable are you having a sales conversation? Okay. That comes with practice,
Yeah.
and it comes from having a like kind of a script or a thing that you flow through. When I first started out, I had sticky notes behind, and I used to do Zoom calls like this because for me, this is most impactful. I mean, I
Yeah.
realize that there's like a whole bunch of stuff. I'm in my guest room because, side note, my office is on the third floor of our house, but it's not connected to the air conditioning, and it's like it's like triple digits this week, and we have a little window.
Nice.
It's not cutting it. So during the like July and August, my husband and I use the guest room, and I just realized that he just took a bunch of stuff and left it on the bed.
Nice. Hey, you gotta have AC.
Hopefully, like I'll just do like this and nobody will see it. That's okay.
You're all good.
Whatever. Anyway, but yeah, so the face-to-face for me is, I feel most impactful. I'm also like, I'm visual, and I feel like people like it's really the closest you can get to a webinar. Unfortunately, it's not the most efficient because it is one-on-one. You can't close a group at a time. It's really good for if you're doing one-on-one coaching. This is great because you'll be like, look, this is what it's like to have a coaching call with me. But you can't really scale the sales call this way. It's good if you have a program that is high ticket, like over over $1,000, you want to have a face-to-face like this, or a webinar is really the way to go. So if you can get comfortable, what I was saying was, I had like a script behind my laptop taped to the wall with a little flow chart. So if somebody said yes, I would read all the notes on this side. If somebody said no, I had it mapped out, because I would panic when I first started. Like, getting on the phone with somebody was terrifying to me.
Yes.
Yeah, and now I'm just like, what's up? Whatever. It comes with practice. You get more comfortable the more you do it. But I remember, I think I still have a picture of what the behind my laptop looked like, with all my little sticky notes and little arrows, and be like, if they say yes, ask them this. If they say no, ask them this. Yes. And it was just, I think I still have that somewhere. I'll have to dig it up. It's pretty funny.
That is funny.
But really, phone call, I mean, that's a really super easy funnel, because what you can do is you have your lead magnet, somebody opts in, you deliver it, and then you can kind of do a nurture sequence. And then all you're doing is asking for them to get on the phone, and you can keep asking them in different ways. Like, do you have questions? What's your biggest challenge? Are you stuck? You just kind of keep phrasing it a different way, but every email has the link to your scheduling app, whatever you're using. I use Kartra. You can use Calendly or Acuity or Schedulicity or any of those. And then, make sure that you have your kind of follow-up sequence to make sure after they schedule, they're going to actually attend, just reminders. And, you can also use, I think it's called Twilio. I don't use it, but people use it for text reminders. So they get a text to be like, hey, your call's coming up. Okay. So that's actually a really good funnel to use if your program is that at that price point. But again, it's not really, if that is something, so that or a webinar would be the funnel that I would recommend if you're at that price point. What I would say though is, do you do any kind of interim program? Do you have what I would call a low barrier offer, which is a 30-day program, or a something under $100 that kind of gives them a little taste of your program, but without the huge commitment? It gets them kind of in the habit of, it's a small app, and then it kind of gets them in the habit of buying things from you, right? They build trust with a smaller purchase. You're much more likely to get them as a client for your full program after that.
I do. I haven't run it in a while just because life. My detox program is my front loader program. Okay. It's $99, and it's a quick 30-day program, and it's a safe, effective way to detox you from sugar without supplements.
Okay, so that is something that what we're going to be doing this week is talking about, what I'm going to send out after the call is the templates for an email sales sequence.
Okay.
For a low bear, for something under $100, right? So I have a whole presentation that I put together here. So I might actually get to doing this in 1 second here. Let's see. So yeah, so it's a 6 or 7 email sequence that starts with when somebody opts in and you walk. So when I'm going to do a little training, even though it's just you on here, I'm still going to go through this presentation, and we'll talk about, we can ask questions, and we can talk about what's in each email and how to set it up. But you'll get the templates after this call. I didn't want to send them out beforehand because I didn't want people in the call to be working on it and like instead of like engaging in the call.
Good idea.
Yeah. Ah, I have my moments. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this. Do you have any questions about your specific funnel or your business or something that you wanted to ask while we're just talking before I get into this?
I don't think so. I saw something that you did the other day, like how you do yours. I feel like the pivoting thing.
Video sales sequence.
Oh, that's cool. I think that you're right, like the pivoting, because I feel like I'm in the middle of doing one myself. Like, I love cooking. I feel like I want to involve that more.
Okay.
Somehow.
Okay. Here's what I would do. So anytime I get itchy about what I'm doing, excuse me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's that?
You okay?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna make it. I'm all right. Yeah. Anytime I'm starting to get like, oh, you know what? Do I want to do this? Do I want to add this? I do what I call, so I do a jump start. I do a 4-week mini version, kind of like this, of the program to kind of test out content, take the temp, see if people are interested in it, see how I like it. So it gives me enough time to say, okay, I have interest. People want to do this. People want to learn about this. Or nobody's buying this. Nobody's interested. Don't bother. And then the same thing with getting in, like running it, getting into the content. What are people asking? Is this what I thought it was going to be? If not, great. You know, I don't have to do it after the next 3 weeks. I never have to talk about sales funnels again. Or I love this and I want to expand it. Do I make like a full program that's just on selling your program? So, and I actually have a program that I put together to show people how to run 4-week jump starts, because I was like, because it's what I did. And it was really effective for me to kind of shape my program, running these sequentially. I got to the point where I was like, okay, I really feel like I have a solid handle on the content that I need to present, the order, the questions, who it's for, who it's not for, stuff like that. So it gave me a lot of clarity by doing this sequential 4-week jumpstart. Because I think I've mentioned this in the group, but my background is software engineering. And, you know, that's our process when you're developing software. You do it in sprints where you're creating something in a short time, you test it, find out if it works. If not, go back to the drawing board. You don't want to go through all this development just to find out stuff doesn't work. So having like a rapid development and test cycle is really valuable to your business, so that you're not wasting time on, you know, creating a full program that nobody's interested in. And you get paid to find out.
Yeah.
So that's really what's helpful to me, is that it was helpful to find out, like, to get paid before I spent all that time, instead of spending 6 months. Like the first time I created a program, I spent all this time creating it, and then it turned out nobody wanted it because I didn't have any kind of like, well, that was my first foray, was like, I was like, oh, I should create this program. And then people were like, no, thank you. All right, well, here we are. So anyway, so yeah, if you feel like that's something you want to incorporate, test it out, add it in, see how people respond. And don't be shy about asking for feedback from participants and saying, how do you like this? Because that is the most valuable part of doing a 4-week jumpstart, is getting that feedback. Because you might have people who sign up for it because it sounds interesting to them, but they might get into it and they're like, this isn't really what I thought I needed. I don't really enjoy this. I want something else. Being able to, especially if you keep it in a smaller group, you'll be able to have these conversations where you could just Zoom call your participants once a week and be like, tell me what you think of this. How is this working for you? So it's a really valuable tool. Fast feedback loop, fast failure loop. So I would recommend. Okay, so on that. Yeah, so any other questions? I'll just jump into like My
Cool.
presentation. It's just like a little training, and if you have questions, you can go ahead and ask. I'm going to keep it, what do you call it? I'll share this, and if, you know, if it's nothing super fancy, but it's some of the stuff that we already talked about.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to share my screen. I think so. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So this presentation is really just about like the beginning, getting ready to like sell, getting comfortable. Because the first, well, one of the biggest things that I hear from health coaches or trainers is that they want to sell. I mean, sorry, they want to help people. And they didn't get into this to like become salespeople or turn into like marketers or things like that. No, they're finding it's kind of like a reality slap that most of their job turns out to be selling and less coaching, unfortunately. Yeah, that was for me because I was not prepared at all for how much I would have to learn. I was really comfortable with technical stuff. I could set up an email list. I could do all the coding. I could set up a website. But when it came to like putting myself out there and saying, hey, I have this solution, you know, are you interested in, you know, not in those words, but it was really like super awkward. So the number one thing that I would say to people is it's really important for you to get your head right around selling and understand that it's a big part of your job. So if you're not prepared to get comfortable asking for sales, you're going to have a very expensive hobby. So we're going to talk a little bit about getting comfortable selling, understanding the psychology of buyers, like what's kind of going through their mind during the process, the funnel framework, which we talked about a little bit already, but I'll go into a little bit more detail, and then using an email sales funnel and what each email entails. All right, so the first part of getting comfortable with selling is overcoming that salesy feeling, because that is going to come through. If you get on the phone with somebody, and you've probably found this in your sales calls, if you have any kind of weirdy feeling about asking for a sale, your potential client is going to feel that. Like you're unease with the process. If you're not confident about what you're what you're selling, what you're offering, it's going to bomb. They're going to be like, well, they don't sound really confident what they're offering me. No, like I'm not really convinced that this is a good, you know, option for me. So what I tell people is that they need to remember, so the value of what you do, right? Because think of it like you have your program solves a problem. And think about people who, you know, when they're looking for, they have a problem, we'll take it out of health coaching altogether. We'll say, okay, you have a pipe burst and, you know, you need a plumber. Well, where do you go? You look online, and plumbers, you know, they sell their services. They're like, I fix pipes. So if you're looking for a plumber, and a plumber is kind of like, oh, I don't really feel comfortable asking, you know, promoting myself and doing that, would you hire him? Would you hire somebody who didn't seem confident in the solution that they could provide you? Probably. Yeah. So there's a value in what you do, and the people who have this pain point want what you have. So as soon as you start saying things like, I feel weird asking, you're holding back on what you can help people with because of your discomfort. So you've just made your solution about you, and your business is about you, instead of helping people. Guessing 97% of the reason you went into this business. I leave it at 97 because there's always that 3% that I don't know. I'm not going to guess. So keep in mind, you know, people are in pain. They want what you have. And then also keep in mind what happens to people if they don't get what you have. So if they don't ever solve this problem, What's their outcome? How do they live? Are they, is it some kind of negative health outcome? Are they at higher risk for heart disease, diabetes, depression, things like that? So keep in mind that by holding back, this sounds super like I'm guilting you guys, but keep in mind that, you're doing it for their benefit, and the sales process is leading them to a decision, because it's going to be entirely possible that what you're offering isn't right for them, or you're not the right coach for them. And that's fine, but you've offered it, you've led them to the decision, they've made it, that's fine. Like there's no harm in, or there's no foul in presenting it and making it available, even if they decide not to go with you, right? So at least you've put it out there and you're not holding back. So that ties into the last point, which is the funnel helps people get clarity on whether you and your solution are the right fit for them. So a good funnel is going to educate. So instead of feeling like the funnel is all about sales, the funnel is going to be about educating them on the problem, what the problem can lead to if not solved. It helps them kind of uncover their own feelings about where they are, because we've got the what's it called? Oh, I should have written it down. It's the psychology of making a decision, right? So I really wish I'd jot that. Usually it's right on the tip of my tongue, and I know what it is. Transcendental model of change. Does that sound right? Where we have people. Yeah. So people are at different stages of the process of being ready to make change. So you're helping them to identify where they are. Are they ready to make a change? And this also helps weed out people who are not ready, because you don't want to bring in people to your program who are in that pre-contemplation or contemplation stage, because you're going to be fighting with them every step of the way. If they're not ready to change, when they walk in the door and you start working with them, you're starting from 2 steps back, and it's just going to be a lot more work. So your funnel helps get them to the point to realize, are they at the point to make change? It can even help them to move up a step, like if they're in, gosh, I can't remember the steps now. But if they're almost ready to make a decision to do something, you can kind of be like, look, this is the motivational interviewing, right? So you're helping them get to the point if they can make a decision if they're ready to do something or not. So that's the purpose of the funnel. And you're also educating them about how you can help, what your unique value proposition is, what your program offers that's different from other programs, how you are uniquely qualified to help. Okay. So we tend to think, so this is a really funny, this is what's funny about sales. So we think that we sell by providing lots of statistics and lots of numbers and things like that. We use logic because that's how we rationalize decisions. But buying is largely driven by emotion. So a big part of the sales process is drawing on the feelings that they have about their condition, their situation, and working through it. So I have a link to this, it's a Harvard Business School professor. They've done a study, and they say that 95% of our purchase decision-making takes place subconsciously, which is not the part of the brain where more logic, right? It's subconscious, it's emotions, it's feelings. And we focus on the selling side on numbers, and it's funny because that's not at all how decisions are made. A lot of times people make purchasing decisions and then they rationalize it with logic. They want to be reinforced that they made a good decision to buy, which is why you'll see a lot of thank you pages for programs that have testimonials, because it reinforces the decision that, you know, that they did the right thing to buy. So it's one of those things, resist the urge to go into like super logical, like, here's why you need to buy. 25% of people who have, you know what I mean? So just keep in mind the buying process from the buyer side is going to be largely based on the emotions that you tap into during the process. All right. So we talked about this a little bit, that the funnel, and I probably should have put in a picture here instead of me typing on a keyboard, but a funnel is, again, it's large at the top and then gets smaller and smaller until it goes all the way to the bottom. And, you know, so at the top, we've got our traffic. So that's emails, people who go to our website, social media followers, and then through calls to action on our social media pages, links to lead magnets, opt-ins on our website, we draw them in and they convert from readers and followers into subscribers. So then now we've got them as subscribers. So some certain percentage, whatever it is, go from being followers and readers to subscribers. The subscribers go through that sales pitch sequence, if it's emails, if it's videos, if it's a webinar, if it's a phone call, and at the very end we have the buying decision, right? Because the percentage of people who get to that buying decision is going to be significantly smaller than the people who you know, visit our website. Not everybody who visits our website is actually going to get to the point where they're talking with us about signing up for our program. And that's okay, because this is how we weed out the people who aren't right for us, the people who aren't a good fit for our program. They're not at the right point. They don't have the pain point that we address. And that's okay. And this is the purpose of it. This is why you get, it's good to know your numbers. So it's good to know if you are converting on your website, your landing page, your emails are being read, people are taking action, people are tuning into your webinar, people are staying for your webinar. This is why it's good to be able to have these numbers, because then you can understand your funnel, how successful it is, if there are leaks, how you can improve your marketing. If your landing page isn't converting, is it, first I always say check the tech, because to make sure you've actually set it up properly and it's working as it's designed, so that people who want the lead magnet actually get added to your subscriber list, they receive the lead magnet, and any sequences kick off successfully after that. So if you've got high traffic to your landing page, but not a lot of subscribers, check the tech. The tech is working, check the language. Does it appeal to the emotions of people, of your ideal client? Is it the logistics? Is it like the colors, the fonts? Is it readable? Does it have typos? You know, you want to look at it and make sure it's visually appealing. And then the content or the copy. And honestly, copy is one of those things that I would hire out. Like the first thing I would hire out is copywriting on sales pages and landing pages. Because writing copy, also writing emails, but mostly writing copy to get people onto your subscriber list, to get your lead, to opt in for your lead magnet, it's tricky. It takes some practice. And it really just depends. Do you have more time to figure it out on your own, to test it, to kind of tweak it, to have split testing, do one version of the page versus another version of the page? Or do you just have more money than you do time, and you just want it to be up and running, converting? Okay, so it depends. Not everybody, it depends on where you are in your business. But for me personally, I would say copywriting leave that to experts. Don't try to do that yourself if you have no experience trying to do that. But again, we build this kind of backwards. And of course, the buying decision includes, you know, if there's a purchase, program delivery, automated program delivery. But we design it from the lead magnet, or actually we design it from the bottom up, because we want to make sure that our program, we have a solid solution on our hands that we provide people. The sales sequence leads them, using the content from your program, using the information, leads them to the program. The lead magnet ties in directly to what the program solves. And then once that's all set up, only then you start driving traffic, either organic or paid, using ads, to this funnel, because the last thing you want to do is just start dumping traffic to a funnel that is leaky or ineffective, doesn't work. Yeah, so you always want to start it small, test it out, see what works, get conversions, and then once you have it configured and it's dialed in, that's when you start increasing the traffic. So that's basically, I know I have it first there because that's the top of the funnel, but that's really the last thing that you do. Let's see. Okay, so we talked a little bit about different funnels and what to use when. An email sales funnel is something that I would use for anything under $100, because anything really over 100, they need to see you and hear you. If at the very other end of the spectrum, if you have a program that is over $1,000, I would have a funnel, and we'll talk about this later. I will probably, like next week or the week after, we would do a webinar or a sales call funnel. Next week, we're going to talk about everything in the middle. So if your program is over $100 or under 1,000, you could do a video sales sequence. And there's going to be some very specific strategies around how to set this up. But this is very effective because it involves video, which you guys know I love in terms of impact. They can see you and they can hear you. And we know that it takes a certain number of touch points. This number changes, and I should have looked it up now, but a certain number of touch points before somebody will buy something from you. You know, they need to hear you. They need to like know about something multiple times before they're like, okay, I'll buy something from her. Before you build that trust. But something about seeing and hearing people like on video in a webinar speeds that process up like exponentially. So this is why, so an email sales funnel is good for anything under $100, like a low barrier program, maybe a 30-day intro program. It could even be you could take the first module from your full program, make that a low barrier offer. You could do that. I've heard both sides of this, and I think it depends on you, your business, what you want to invest in terms of time setting this up. But some people don't even offer a low barrier offer. They go straight to, I have one program, it costs a lot of money, this is it, you're either in or out, right? So the reasoning there is that they figure people opt in because, you know, they sign up for the lead magnet because they're in pain. They want a solution. Don't distract them with a 30-day, maybe it will help, maybe it won't. It's a $100 thing to distract them and waste a month of their time when they really just need to get on the phone with you and start coaching, right? So it depends on how you feel about your program and whether or not a 30-day intro program is valuable in your business or not. And this is something you can test. You can set one up easily, and I would say take a module from your program or take content that you would put in a webinar, like a teaching webinar. And at the end, offer, you know, maybe you do like the 30 days and it's 4 sessions of, you know, video, 15-minute videos with either a call with you, or they get some kind of a worksheet or something that helps them like implement the teaching strategy for the week. So it's up to you if that's something that you feel would be valuable in your business. But so if you're going to do this, what I would do is create an automation in your email service provider. Pretty much all of the, I don't know if MailChimp does it. They have automation included. They do, or maybe they didn't.
In the paid version, they do, which is what I have.
Okay.
Which is what's so frustrating.
That is frustrating. I would let them have it.
Oh, yeah.
So, what did I just do? Hit the wrong button. My apologies. All right. So, I just closed my notes. Oh, God bless. Thought I had another one. Here we go. All right. So, lost my window. So it's a 7 email series, and the first email will be something that like delivers the lead magnet. So somebody opts in for your, you know, and this works really good for something that's like a one and done. If you've got a free like 7-day challenge, this is probably not the best. This is something I would tack on to the end of a challenge. I wouldn't deliver this immediately, right? Because that doesn't make sense if they just signed up for a 7-day challenge and all of a sudden you're spending, you know, the next week sending them a separate set of emails trying to sell them a program and they haven't finished the challenge. They're going to be all kinds of confused. But this funnel is good for, you know, they get a checklist, a cheat sheet, a recipe book, or something that's really easy to consume, a quick win for your potential clients. And the first email delivers your lead magnet, and it's got a little bit of an introduction to you, but I want you to keep in mind the introduction is about you insofar how you can help them. Because a lot of people like to start talking about, you know, their experience or their qualifications and their life story because they feel like people need that to connect with them. And I'm telling you, people really don't. They might want to know how you're qualified, but only insofar as it can help them, because we have what we call the what's in it for me factor, right? So people really only care insofar as, I mean, you're nobody to them. At this point, they're looking to you for help. How can you help me? So keep that in mind when you're writing your emails. And again, you're going to get these templates after the call. So it's value, okay? And you might include a couple of blog posts, links, something that pertains to the lead magnet. If it's more recipes, if it's information about gut health, if it's a blog post you wrote about artificial sweeteners and things like that. So at this point, you're just providing value. That's all you're doing. It's, hi, I'm Laurie. I'm a health coach. I help women who blank. And, you know, I noticed you got, you know, here's the lead magnet that you requested on whatever. Here's some additional resources to help you with whatever problem they Googled. Okay, this is why it's really important to know who your ideal client is. You can speak directly to the things, because if you know, so whatever that lead magnet was, if you know the pain point, you also know what are some other like what some other like related issues are. So if they're talking about snacking all the time, well, now you can send them a blog post you wrote about blood sugar and how that relates to erratic hunger, right? So the whole purpose of the sales funnel is to educate them.
Yes.
You want to start like providing as much information as you can, but I'm going to retract that. You want to retract as much helpful and useful information that helps them, that's going to help them see that your program is the solution to your problem, okay? So then you're gonna send another email the next day, and it's going to be a value-only email. So you might have sent like a blog post link or two yesterday. Well, now you're gonna send, you're actually gonna write this like a blog post. This email is just gonna be information, and you're gonna talk about, well, what you're going to talk about in this email is hopefully going to cause a mindset shift, right? So your job during the sales process to help them shift from believing that they can't do it to they can, right? So you're tearing down false beliefs around their abilities to affect change with their diet or change how they eat, how they take care of themselves. So this is all about education and mindset shifts, okay? So that's what the second email is going to be. The third email is going to be 2 days later. We're going to stretch these out a little bit. And this is more like the excuses eliminator email. So we're going to talk about the reasons why people believe they can't succeed at blank. So if it's about the reasons that you think you can't stop snacking, or you don't have any willpower, well, we're going to talk about how willpower is a finite resource, and it's not your fault. Okay. We're going to talk about I don't have time to cook. Guess what? You don't need to have a lot of time to cook to eat healthy. Here are some really quick recipes for making dinner in 30 minutes or less, okay? And then you're gonna do like what we call a soft sell, which is you're just gonna mention your product as like a PS. You're gonna say, hey, PS, if this was helpful, and you're gonna get the template, I'll have this information. You're planting the seed of your program, and you also wanna mention that I'm going to be offering you a special limited time deal on my whatever program that helps with blank. So it's all going to kind of tie into, this is why the lead magnet, having the lead magnet that ties directly to your program is so important, because we want to hold their hand to be like, look, you can do this. Okay. This is why it's important. This is why you believe you can't do it, but I believe you can, because with the reasons that you've been telling yourself that you can't do it are garbage, and here's right. So what's really important about this email, especially if you're running an evergreen funnel, is that it has a deadline. Now, a lot of the email service providers, I know Kartra does, I'm trying to think what else does, but creating some kind of a limited time offer. So you're using scarcity and urgency. Mostly urgency. You're saying, here it is. I'm giving you a special deal for the next, because you're a new subscriber, I'm giving you a deal for the next 3 days. And then you're just kind of planting the seed. You're not putting a link. You're not going to do anything. You're not asking for a sale. You're telling them, I have this, and it's only going to be available to you at this deal for the next few days. Okay. So now the next email number 4, which is going to come, let's see, 2 days after that. So it's another value email. You're providing more information about whatever the problem is. And again, it's a soft sell, but this is going to be more, you're going to remind them, I have this program. Here's a little bit more information about it. Here's how it helps. Again, you're not really asking for the sale, but you're putting it in there. That's email number 4. Email number 5 is now we've got the hard sell. Okay, so this one is basically like a sales page, and you're going to start out with, over the last week or so, over the last few days, I've been talking to you about, unmanageable cravings, or, you mentioned that you had trouble with cravings. I mentioned that I have this program, and I'm offering it as a special deal. That's when you'll drop in like testimonials or a client story or something to kind of let the client or the potential client see themselves in the shoes of somebody you've already helped, right? So client stories are extremely valuable in that it helps them, like it activates, I should know this, but it activates part of the brain that kind of like helps them like visualize. It's the visualization part of the brain where they're like, okay, this lady did it. She was a busy mom. She worked full time and she, you know, got these results. I can totally relate. I have these same problems and she got this result. So it helps them kind of see themselves in the shoes of the client story that you're gonna share.
Mm-hmm.
And you're gonna put in, there's a couple tools you can use for this. It helps. I've used this a bunch of times and it's really helpful. It's like a little countdown timer in the email. So even though you're saying, hey, oh, you have 48 hours, people are like, whatever. But when you put in that timer and it kind of like, they'll see like it actually ticking while it's in the email. You've probably gotten emails like that and you're like, oh, that gets your attention. You're like, okay, it's ticking. If I want this, I need to make a decision soon. But we're human and we're going to wait till the last possible minute to hit the buy button, right? Because we're going to think about it till we really have to make a decision. And then you can mention like in the PS, this offer expires at midnight, you know, the clock is ticking, whatever. The last email is going to be on, you know, the last day. You can do, so if email 5 was on day 7, we'll send the next email number 6 on day 8 in the morning. We'll say, final reminder, your special deal is offering tonight, your special offer is expiring tonight. Here's the countdown. Like you can show the countdown timer, like it's less than 24 hours. Here's what you get. At this point, you can throw in like some bonuses and be like, you know, if you were on the fence, I'm going to throw in this. I'm going to throw in, if you, something that helps and doesn't distract, but helps give them like maybe, off the top of my head, I can't even think, but it depends on what you're offering. It could be a bonus like coaching call with you. It could be, I'm a personal trainer and a health coach, so I'll do like extra workouts, or I'll offer like a meal plan, kind of shopping list, like a metabolism reset or something appealing to their, whatever their pain point is. And you just want to remind them, this is it, this is tonight. And then you want to send the last email. That was a lot. Okay. The last email is basically going to be a few hours, and it's all it is like last chance. Few hours remaining. Just a recap. Here's what you get. Bye button. And then put the countdown timer in again, because that visual reminder of the clock is ticking is going to be highly impactful.
Okay.
And then what you'll want to do, and I've personally found most of the sales come in on that last day because people wait. So you could have this sequence running. You could even be doing a launch and you're running all these emails at the same time and everybody is, you know, reading them at the same time. And all your sales like come in at the end. You read like you're watching like your open rates, you know who's reading the emails. You've got good open rates, people are reading them, and you're like, how come nobody's buying? And it's so frustrating. And then the last day, it's like, boom. It's like, man, so frustrating. So I've learned like, don't even look. Don't even, just let it go. And then you can do this. This is optional. Email number 7 is, or sorry, I think we're on 8. I think I skipped one actually. The last email after the cart closes or after that time is up, you want to wait a day and say, hey, I noticed you didn't take advantage of this deal. Do you mind if I ask like what, or I saw that you clicked on the link, or I saw that, I forget how I worded it, but it's in. And you'll say something like, hey, I noticed you didn't take advantage of the deal. Was it not right for you? Hit reply. Or you could even do like check boxes in the email so people don't have to hit reply and tell you, but they can click a link. So then you can have tags for links and say, you know, it was too expensive, or I didn't think it was helpful for me, or wasn't something I need right now. And that gives you some insight as to why people aren't buying. Maybe they're not seeing the value. Maybe you need to work on the copy of your emails. Maybe it doesn't tie into the lead magnet like you think it does. But having these options and getting the feedback from your readers is extremely helpful. So, let's see. And I think I talked about this a little bit in the webinar, but I'll go over it again. The tools to use to set up a funnel is pretty simple because it's just your email service provider, call scheduler if you're doing a funnel to your discovery call or sales call, Canva for your lead magnet to create whatever checklist or PDF that you're offering them, and then a payment processor so that you can send them a link to buy whatever it is that you're including in your email sequence. And I think those are all free? There are free versions of all of those. So worst case, you're bootstrapping your business, you could definitely do that for low cost. So the last part of this is just how to set up your funnel. So if you are at the point where you're just like, okay, I know how my funnel, how I want this to look, making sure everything ties together, start at the end, look at your big problem, which is the big problem, big solution, which is your program and the problem it solves. Understanding who wants that solution, who's got that, what pain point, what is the small problem that it addresses, who, and then your ICA, which is your ideal client avatar, who has this problem, where can I find them, because that's going to be important for your marketing strategy, where you market, the language you use, and the specifics around the pain point. And that is it. Do you have any questions about that content?
I don't think so. I mean, that was great. I mean, I've got a lot to think about.
Okay. What is your biggest kind of takeaway from this?
Definitely need to contact MailChimp. I need to I'm all over the place. So I need to dial down my age range and my problem. I need to dial it down. I need to narrow things down big time. And I really like the idea of making that video.
Okay.
Kind of an introduction of how I can help them. I love that.
Okay.
And I use better practice or practice better. I always mash those together. I use that right now with my clients, and they offer you the ability to do a video. And I haven't done that. So that might be something that I could use with that too. So
video is really good to put also on the thank you page for your lead magnet, because that's a point in time where people are really invested in, like, they're really interested in you, your brand, your website, everything. It's right. Like, they're like, oh, this lady seems like she can help me. She's got a tool I can use. On the thank you page, where you do like your whole thing about like check your email, check your spam folder, whitelist the email. You could do a little video and you could say all that in the video. And I mean, that is going to speed up the process. They're like, oh, I feel like I know her already because I've seen her face. I've heard her voice.
Yeah.
She's this faceless entity hiding behind a laptop who just wants to take my money. She's a nice lady, you know. It really builds that trust a lot faster.
Yes, I like that a lot. A lot. That was really cool. And explaining the funnel, that was a big help.
Okay, good.
Help. I'm going to start working on that.
Okay.
Probably tonight after I put the kiddo to bed and in the morning.
Good. Well, if you have any questions, you can just let me know. I don't think I created a Facebook group just for this, but I have a smaller Facebook group that's just for for programs. So I'll probably add everybody to that.
Okay.
So you can ask in there, and that way it's not getting buried in like the big group with all the other.
Okay.
And I am terrible, but with like Messenger, because like I'll see it pop up and then I'm like, because I don't get a notification, like it doesn't, like my Facebook notifications are like all over the place, and Messenger particularly, if somebody messages me, it like, if once that thing disappears and I don't see it, it's gone.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's why having it in a group that I know I check like twice a day, I'm like, okay, we're good. Like I'll see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
I'm glad this was helpful. Okay, so next week, so I'll be sending out like the template of the emails.
Okay.
And that'll come out tonight. And a little like a workbook page to kind of help you work through, or like, for me, I like to do it out loud. I know I look like, I like to do it in the car while I'm driving. I'll like talk about my program and I'll say stuff till it sounds right, because I know I had a, you know, they tell you to do like your elevator pitch and stuff like that. And I would write it out and I'm like, oh, that sounds good, until I said it out loud. I'm like, that sounds ridiculous. I can't say that. So I have to say it out loud until it feels like it's something I would normally say like a normal person, right?
Yes, I do that when I practice my Facebook Lives.
Yeah. Do you still practice your Facebook Lives?
I do, because I feel like I sound like a dippy when I'm doing them.
Listen, you're gonna get to the point where you don't even check to see if you have like what your hair looks like, and you'll just be like, we'll just go live, and you'll be like, I can't even remember why. It's like walking in the kitchen, like, why did I even come in here? I can't remember. But yeah, I mean, again, and that like with the video and the webinars, all comes with practice. So yeah. Okay, great. Oh yeah, so it'll be like a worksheet on working through like your UVP, your ICA, who you help, how you help them, to kind of help you connect the dots between the small problem and solution and your big problem and solution, because that is the most important part of having a funnel, having a successful funnel, because if there's no connection, no direct correlation between the two, you're wasting your time, and you're just going to be losing leads from your program. Okay, so I will send those out. Those will probably go out first thing tomorrow morning. And awesome. Well, I'm so glad I got finally the chance to meet you.
Yes.
In person.
Yes, you too. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome.
All right, so and then I will chat with you, and then we will have our call again next week.
Sounds good. Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.